Hi, this is Greg Weeks for Sprint 8. So let me just show you what I got so far in the way of a demo. Um, yeah, so I'm spawning in multiple instances of this cottage. It's honestly a very sad demo, but I do have collisions working, and alarms, and a scene switch working. So I went ahead and made an enemy class with this really basic and stupid AI. But yeah, the collisions are working on that still. And I do have a God camera implemented. I'm still worried about the visualizer not working on objects that are like duplicates of other objects. So these are all inheriting from the frigate class. So I have like a tank for the main guy, and then an enemy class that inherits from frigate. And it only shows a collision on the very last one that I add into the scene. So I don't know. You told me in class that was okay. I'm still a little bit concerned about that because it's kind of hard to debug with that. But the collisions are registering, as you can see in the output window. And the God cam's kind of weird. The rotations are kind of off. But I can deal with that later because the implementation seems to be working just fine. Okay, so in terms of Doxygen and documentation, I documented the entirety of the game object class and all of the asset managers because I figured those are the two things that the user is actually going to be looking at most of the time. So let's go ahead and open up the website here. So I've got good old Mecanum engine and a omnidirectional Mecanum wheel there. So this is my class diagram for game objects. It's very giant and unruly, and I'm kind of concerned about that. I guess it makes sense considering we've got all the ubbles, but yeah, it looks very messy. Okay, so I have documentation on all of the functions that the user would actually be calling in their respective game objects with examples of what they should look like in their actual implementation. So that's weird. I used the code tag on a lot of these, so it would sort of format it like this. But apparently it only chose to do that on certain ones because it didn't do it on this one. So I guess I have to go back and figure out why it did that. Yeah, it's the same tag everywhere, so that's a little weird. But yeah, so it's the same deal for all of the other managers here, the asset managers. So go over to texture manager. We got a nice generated diagram there. So brief description and then usage example. And yeah, it's pretty straightforward. Pretty much exactly the same for all the other managers here. And just swapped out some of the examples. So I'm giving them an idea of where to implement this. So I'm telling them that this has to be done in Mecanum engine load resources. And that's another thing that I documented, the actual engine class itself. Let's see if I can find it real quick. There we go. So yeah, descriptions of what each thing does on it, obviously because the user is going to be in and out of this a lot, I figure. Okay. Yeah, so those are the main things. I probably should have gotten to, what was it, the scene manager this week, because that's another thing that the user is actually going to be manipulating. But I left that out for this week. So I've got like the basic engine.cpp or engine class, game object class, and then all the managers. Alright, that is pretty much it. If you wanted to look at my stupid enemy class, that's right here. I need to implement player targeting at some point because right now it's just going in a circle. To the frigate class. I don't know. That's pretty much all I've got going on for this week. I do need to go ahead and mess with my memory management for a lot of the ubbles because I don't know if that's actually working as it should, so I need to go in and just fix all that, but it should be should be relatively simple. So, all right, that's about it. I'm rambling. I'll see you in class.